Hello my fine feathered friends, I'm Vampire Ian and welcome to Batty Decks, the series where I give you a profile on a deck that I brewed up on a whim for your entertainment. Floowandereeze took a brief break from the meta recently, especially after the ban of the wind barrier statue that took away part of its end board, but it's been peeking around the edge of the meta for a bit now, and it seems that now might finally be its time to shine, especially with the release of a new TCG exclusive in Phantom Nightmare that really boosts the strategy. Let's check it out. So here's the deck. It actually doesn't look all that different. For those who aren't familiar though, Floowandereeze, or Flu, or Flunder if you remember when this archetype was announced, is a deck of winged beasts on a journey built around the normal summon, or in their case, normal summons. Each of the birds has an effect on summon that then, after resolution, allows you to normal summon another winged beast, creating a long chain of normal summons. They also get banished when they leave the field, and then flock back to the hand to do it all over again next turn. And by next turn, I don't mean your next turn, I mean the opponent's turn, where the field spell and trap give you the ability to create another chain of normal summons during your opponent's turn. The deck has a pretty bad rap, both for how often you monopolize your opponent's turn and for its propensity to play floodgates. In the past, it's been a very floodgate heavy deck, but now it's a little bit lighter on them. It's a little more on par with the rest of the format now, probably even beat out by Labyrinth. Don't worry though, the deck has plenty of control power even with Barrier Statue now on a bus trip to hell. The downsides to all this power are that 1. They lock you out of special summons, preventing you from using all that tiny material immediately. 2. Their effects are vulnerable to all kinds of hand traps that end your turn on a grand total of nothing and may even prevent you from repeating it. And 3. Is also known to be a bit bricky, only solved by a critical mass of pots. Phantom Nightmare has given us a card that helps with all these problems, at least to a certain extent. And to show you what I mean, let's get into the card by card. Let's start with the platonic ideal of a starter, Robina. Robina, like all the Floowandereeze, lets you normal summon a winged beast monster after you resolve its on-summon effect. And like all the small level 1 Floowandereeze, it banishes itself when it leaves the field, and then flocks back to hand as a quick effect when you normal summon a winged beast. Robina's specific effect on summon is to search a level 4 lower winged beast, likely Eaglin unless you already have it. Importantly, all these little guys are hard once per turns, so don't try and summon them more than once per turn unless you really need material. It's almost always better to retain some gas in hand to do it all over again later. Next up is Eaglin, who has all the same but searches a level 7 or higher winged beast, usually M-Pen unless you already have it. Now you have one Stree, who banishes a monster in either grave on summon. This is good both as graveyard hate on the opponent and to put Flu cards back into banishment. This lets the little ones flock back to hand, and it allows our one Token to add the cards that don't flock back to hand on summon. These two are usually at 1 because while they are useful, we get to use them over and over again, and neither one of them really does combo on their own, especially going first. Token has a better time of it if you have the field spell already, and Stree can use a hand trap, our opponent's or our own, to get things started with a field spell in tow, but these two are conditional 2-card combos that leave small birds vulnerable to attack on field. Also, if your opponent manages to resolve a hand trap that isn't exactly Dimension Shifter, you're just fucked. Next up we have the big birds, starting with 2 M-Pen. M-Pen, despite being a Flu name, works a little differently. It still allows you an extra normal summon on resolution of its search effect, here searching a Flu spell trap, but the rest of the generic effects are gone. In their place are a Floodgate and a Battle Trick. The Floodgate effect prevents your opponent from activating the effect of special summon monsters in attack position. This effect is easily dodged by summoning a monster in defense position, but Link monsters struggle against this deck hard. Considering the game warping power of SP Little Knight, this is pretty nice to have on your side. Because of that Floodgate and the relatively small attack of M-Pen, the Battle Trick also really does come up, allowing you to banish a card in hand to have the attack of a monster that tries to beat over M-Pen, and unfortunately only M-Pen. You can't protect your other birds with this, sorry. M-Pen is also vulnerable to effects in hand or grave, so you have to be aware of those as well. Promethean Princess is a real problem for this deck. However, our next 2 tribute monsters help with this. We have our honorary Flu monsters that fit the conditions of Eaglin's search and have very powerful effects. First up is Rise of the Mega Monarch, who can actually use M-Pen or our other big bird as the whole of its tribute, but that's not actually very good. More importantly, on Tribute Summon, it stacks a card on field and engrave back on top of the deck, making for powerful interruption. If you tributed a wind monster, you get an additional target as well, making it even better. This is an if though, as there is surprisingly few wins in this archetype. Eaglin and Token will be your targets, and only one of the tributes has to be wind. So it's not necessarily hard, just keep it in mind. Also keep in mind that there needs to be targets in grave and on field to resolve the effect. If you don't have them, it's just a big vanilla. Lastly, we have Mist Valley Apex Avian, a card that many are surprised to learn is part of a whole archetype of terrible cards. This card is actually good though, being an Omni Negate that bounces the Mist Valley back to hand to resolve its effect. It's the only Mist Valley card we play, so it's the only one to bounce back, but we can always summon it again for little effort. If only Mist Valley Thunderbird were a winged beast instead of a thunder, we could use that for infinite Omni Negates. Oh well. Now for our spell traps, we have 3 Floowandereeze in the Advent of Adventure, which simultaneously protects our combos and allows us more consistency. It allows you to banish a winged beast monster in hand or field to add a Floowandereeze monster or field spell to hand, and then gains you 500 life points, which will help you win in time. This lets you turn any winged beast in the deck into Rabina or the field spell, or let your birds on field dodge negation like Imperm or Effect Veiler. It doesn't stop Ash Blossom though, keep that in mind. Next we have what is not only a very powerful search target in most matchups, but is also the Mirror Breaker, Unexplored Winds. This is a continuous spell that allows you to tribute one of your opponent's cards for a tribute summon once per turn. That's right, cards. It can also tribute the spells and traps. Isn't that neat? This is an incredible board breaker, although not the first search you should go for unless you find yourself in a mirror match where this card will definitely make the difference. It also has a way to potentially unbreak your hand by placing up to 2 winged beasts on the bottom of the deck to draw that many cards. A simple effect that sometimes comes up, especially if games go long and you start running out of search targets for Rabina or Eaglin, since their search effects need to resolve to normal summon again. Next we have the ever essential field spell that makes the deck work, Magnificent Map. This card allows you to reveal one level 1 bird in hand to banish another one with a different name and then normal summon the one that you revealed. This not only gives you an additional normal summon but also puts a bird in the banishment that can flock back to hand to be summoned next, while also chain blocking the on-summon effect of the bird you revealed to stop Ash Blossom style negates. If that wasn't enough, it also gives you another normal summon during your opponent's turn in response to their normal summon. This gives you some play on your opponent's turn, making Ryza and Unexplored Winds that much crazier. Our searchable trap, Dreaming Town, also does this, allowing us to start a summon chain in response to anything our opponent does. It can also banish itself from grave to Book of Moon the opponent's entire board when we tribute summon a level 7 or higher monster. This is not only a powerful effect for shutting down our opponent, it also puts the trap in the banishment for token to return it to hand without using Stree. Next we have a bunch of non-engine that's only kinda non-engine. First up is Terraforming, the good old field spell searcher, which is absolutely essential for this deck because the field spell is just that good. Then we have the new card, Swallow's Cowrie. This reboot of Swallow's Nest allows you to tribute a winged beast in hand or face up on the field and add another one with the same level to hand. This is an ever so slightly worse version of Advent of Adventure that serves the same purpose of shoring up our consistency and resiliency to interruption. Next we have our pot farm of 3 Prosperity, 3 Extravagance. We need to dig into our deck as much as possible to access our combo pieces to make sure we have optimal combo, and we also don't care about the extra deck, so let's throw it all away. If you end up drawing one of each, go for Prosperity over Extrav, at least in most situations. Digging 6 deep gives you greater access to your combo. If you have full combo though, Extrav becomes much more defensible as it gives you more card advantage. Now for the true non-engine, which starts with the second and most annoying floodgate hand trap still legal in the TCG, Dimension Shifter. This guy brings a Macrocosmos of field to the effect for 2 whole turns, which is normally something you use if it won't hurt you, but in our case, it actively helps us. Having our spell traps and bigger guys go directly to banish makes token online right off the bat. This deck utilizes the card better than almost any other, and it auto wins against a lot of the more powerful decks in the format, so we gotta play it. Rotten Hell, Snake Eye, Labyrinth, and Voiceless. Next we have 3 Book of Moon, which serves as an interruption going first, but can also be used on our own monsters to save from Veiler or Imperm like negation. We have Called By next because this deck dies to hand trap super hard and as many dodges as possible are necessary to win. And then we have one last floodgate, Harpy's Featherstorm. Since we aren't playing Harpy this time, we can't activate this from hand, but setting this with a winged beast like M-Pen on field just blanks the entire opponent's turn by negating every effect they can activate. This one you're going to need to side out going second though, it doesn't really do much for you there. Next up is the extra deck, which has a lot of duplicates for the pot banishes. The thing about the extra deck here though is that every single card in here raises the ceiling by like a centimeter. Since you're usually locked out of the extra deck, you could play like vanilla fusion monsters from like 25 years ago in here and only have a win-loss rate of a couple percentage points off a player with this extra deck. When they come up though, they do come up, so let's see what we're playing in this most optimal version of the build. First up, we have Lyrilisk Assembled Nightingale, another birdie! This is a rank 1 we only need 2 birds to make. They can attack directly to be turned into a Zeus. That's literally the reason to play it. You can also rank that up into Downward Magician to gain an extra material, and that's a 2-mat Zeus, people. Zeus is of course great for clearing up sticky boards. We're playing a lot of cards just to facilitate that. His boyfriend Typhon is the easiest one to make in the entire deck and can turn a single bird into a giant problem for the opponent, floodgating the effects of 3000 or higher attack monsters and returning 1 card to hand. Next we have the links, like Link Karibo, which we can make with our small birds and can bring back multiple times by using another bird and can easily stop an opponent's attack. Anima is similarly easy to make and can slurp up an opponent's monster into an attack stat for you. Most importantly though, these 2 monsters are extra deck monsters to trigger SP Little Knight's on summon effect to banish for cost of 1 extra monster. And then Little Knight could use its other banish effect to wreak havoc throughout the game. Incredible card! Access code can help you make a lethal push if you can manage to make it, and Underworld Goddess of the Closed World could be made in similar situations to put down untouchable towers that you're having trouble outing. Just don't ask me where the material comes from. Good luck with that. Now for the side deck, we start with the Triple Tactics package with the usual 3 Thrust, which in addition to getting us access to terraforming, can also find Tactics, the Flexible Punish, Feather Duster to clear back row, which could also be searched by Featherstorm in weird circumstances, and Herald of the Abyss to clear towers. We have the most annoying Floodgate that's still legal in the TCG, Droll and Lockbird, which just automatically wins the game in some situations. If your opponent activates Bonfire, one of the Voiceless Voice Searchers, just get them. You got them. You're good. 3 Ash Blossom, usually seen in the main deck, but in the side deck here is just good for siding in against stupid stuff. If you're going second, you might want to side these in instead of the Featherstorm. And then 3 Nibiru, because combo is back and bigger than ever. And now for what we aren't playing. First up, just to hit the obvious, you will never catch me dead playing Snowl. If the deck is hit hard enough to play that, it's just time to put down the deck. Next, we aren't playing Duality, instead choosing to go for Extrav. While Duality lets us dig further into our deck, Extrav gives us more card advantage, which can be useful. On the other hand, our pick of Extrav and Prosby means we have a chance of completely burning through our extra deck and then drawing a useless pot. This is unlikely, but possible, and playing Duality would make it less likely. Basically just up to personal preference here, especially since the extra deck essentially does not matter. But I give a slight edge to Extrav here. Now that we've selected our pots, let's check out some games. Alright, here we are at the first game. We're up against some sort of earth pile, and I'm about to show you what the average experience of playing Floowandereeze is like. Our opponent's going to start, they're going to activate Heavy Forward, we're going to chain Dimension Shifter, and they're going to scoop. Yay! Floowandereeze! Floowandereeze! Okay, here's the real game one. We're still looking at a pretty nice hand. We've got the Featherstorm, we got Rabina, we got Eaglin, Book of Moon. Our opponent seems to be playing some sort of Adventure Phantom Knights Horus pile. Let's see how it goes. We're starting. We're going to start with normal summon Rabina, Rabina effect, grab Stree, normal summon Eaglin, and then we're going to get drolled because so the thing about it is the Eaglin is going to get normal summoned per the Rabina effect, and then they're going to have the opportunity to chain droll to the effect of Eaglin. Which of course means that Eaglin doesn't get resolve. So we're just kind of stuck on field with Rabina and Eaglin. This is why we play Called By, because Droll really screws us over. We are going to set a Featherstorm and a Book of Moon. We're going to retain one in hand. They're going to activate Imseti. We're going to Featherstorm. No turn for you. They're going to set the Phantom Knights and pass. We draw a pot off the top. Unfortunately, they drew Droll and Lockbird for turn. So this is you know, we get to go into 6. This is why I want to play Prosperity instead of Duality or Extrav. And then we get the Eaglin. That's all we need, baby. Then they droll us. But we have the Featherstorm. We're going to set the Featherstorm. They don't draw very well. We're going to blank their turn. They decide to flip summon the Phantom Knights for some reason. They go to activate the Water Enchantress. That's negated, sorry. Did you read Featherstorm? Alright, now we get to play the game! Eaglin effect, grab M-Pen. And our opponent's going to scoop because we have officially outed their entire board, and they're about to peck them out of the game. Alright, here we are with game 2. We got 3 Book of Moon in hand, which is pretty funny. Full house. We're going up against Salamangreat, which is another rogue deck right now. Probably about a similar power level, but Floowandereeze has better matchups in the current meta, so I feel like it's a little bit higher tiered than Salamangreat is. Let's see how this goes. We've got a pretty good hand, even despite the 3 Book of Moon. They're going first, though, so we won't get to show off the power of the map until our next turn here. They're going to summon the Salamangreat of Fire. This is the new guy from that Duelist pack that was otherwise not very good to open. They're going to summon Tiger. They're going to summon Gazelle. I have never seen Tiger before. I forgot that they have a tuner now because they have a Synchro. They're going to go into Balinx effect to grab the Sanctuary. They're going to go into Mirage Stallion effect to summon the Jack Jaguar. We're going into Sunlight Wolf. We're summoning back Jack Jaguar on the Sunlight Wolf's spot to get back the Gazelle. Sanctuary. Link off for Promethean Princess. Get back the Sunlight Wolf. Make Raging Phoenix. Chain the Roar. And then we get Will of the Salamangreats as well. Will of the Salamangreats effect. Jack Jaguar come back. We increase the level of Tiger for some reason and pass. And I think what this was is they were going for Barone. Maybe it's a level 6 tuner and a level 4 non-tuner, but they're locked into fires. We're gonna go map. They're going to negate it with Roar. is a have to negate. We're going to go Eaglin. They're going to negate that. We're going to then use Cowrie here. It doesn't stop the negation, but it does get us something for next turn. We were just trying to eat through their negation here. And then we're going to set 3 Book of Moon and pass. That's literally all we wanted to do, is eat through the negation. Lady Debug is the normal summon. Terrible for us. Awful. It's looking bad for us, I gotta say. We just have 3 Book of Moon, but unfortunately they're a link deck. Here's the Barone. Like I said, they're just looking to get into Barone, but they just didn't realize they got locked. They're going to negate their own Gazelle for some reason. I think they were trying to pop one of our back row, but they ended up negating their own Gazelle. We're going to Book of Moon the Mirage Dahlia. We don't need the Book of Moon the Barone, because that's just going to reset its negate. They're going to use the Mirage Dahlia effect after flipping it back up. I was like, ugh, that's annoying. We're going to flip down the Weasel so they can't make anything other than another Pyro Phoenix. They're going to send our Book of Moon away. Again, I don't want to reset the Barone. They're going to then go into Spinny and Jack Jaguar and then go into Sunlight Wolf. They're going to get in for a ton of damage. It's a tight one, but we do have Robina, Eaglin, and Call by the Grave to stop any hand traps. Unfortunately, they don't have any currently. So we're going to go Robina, chain Eaglin, get Stree, normal summon Eaglin, Eaglin effect, get M-Pen. That's the combo. Eaglin, or M-Pen. M-Pen effect, Robina effect to chain, block it. We're going to grab the trap card. We're going to go to battle. We're going to use the M-Pen effect, banishing the Stree to get over the Barone. Then we're going to set our Dreaming Town and our Call by the Grave and pass. They're going to flip up Weasel and then summon Gazelle. They got Drew the Droll. Spinny comes back. They're going to go all that material into Raging Phoenix. They're going to use the effect there. We're going to chain Dreaming Town here. Because they're summoning Balings to our side of the field. We just wanted to go into it. They're going to... God, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on at once. This is the crazy thing. There's so much chaining. We're going to call by the Promethean Princess before it gets to pop our M-Pen. And our Stree is going to come back to hand. And our Robina is going to get to go off. Robina is going to grab Toucan. It's weird. It's like not a Toucan. It's filled Toucan. So they're going to negate the Promethean Princess. And then M-Pen's going to activate. They're going to Droll here. We're going to get Stree back to hand though. And they're going to summon Weasel. Unfortunately, because we weren't able to go into a tribute summon monster, they can just attack us for lethal. This is why they are putting the Balings on our side of the field, not for any particular reason other than they can go for easy lethal that way. Unfortunate. If we hadn't taken so much damage that turn before, we might have been able to get out of here, because we were in a very winning position from this point on, except for the fact that they just had lethal. But that's how it goes. That's also the danger of these little guys too, because it doesn't matter if they summon the Balings actually, because they were able to droll our Eaglin, and that leaves these little guys on the field, and we're just going to get lethal that way. Alright, here we are with game 3, and yes, you are correct, that is the meta deck Snake Eyes, and we've got a pretty, like, I would say it's a bad hand because we don't have any of the birds in hand, but we do have Terraforming and we do have Advent of Adventure, which means it's not actually a brick hand, but it would have been before Advent of Adventure was printed and before Swallow's Cowrie was printed. Well, actually, this would still be a brick hand with Swallow's Cowrie, because Swallow's Cowrie can activate here, but it'll just get another M-Pen because it has to match the level. But we do also have Unexplored Winds in here, which is a neat card. We don't have to search it here. They're going to Ash, go for Poplar effect. I think you've all seen this by now. Poplar effect, add the original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye. They're going to activate that, sending the Poplar, getting Ponix. Yes, that's right, it's Fire King as well. They're going to do the stuff in sequence to put the Poplar back and get the Sanctuary effect to grab the Fire King Island to destroy. We're popping the Ponix to get the Garunix. Garunix effect summons itself. Garunix effects to pop the Kieran. Kieran brings back the Ponix. And then we're going to make Link Karibo. And then we're going to pitch the Droll. Thank you for pitching Droll. I appreciate it. To make Diabellstar to grab Wanted. Don't know why they did this, except for to get more material to go into IP immediately. And then they're going to go into Flamberge. And they're going to pass there. Huh? What? See, the thing is, they fucked up the combo. You're supposed to use original Sinful Spoils on Link Karibo to get it off the field. Because you need to go into Sunlight Wolf to do the full Flamberge combo. Because you want to make Sunlight Wolf with Flamberge and a fire monster, and then you get to summon 2 monsters over to the Sunlight Wolf zones and get Kieran back to hand. But they completely messed up the combo, and we're going to take full advantage of that. They're going to want it here in our standby draw phase. Grab Diabell Star. We're going to Terraforming. Grab our Field Spell. Field Spell. Advent of Adventure, banishing our M-Pen to grab ourselves Rabina. Get a 500, and that's time in the round, folks. Alright, we're going to go ahead and activate the Unexplored Winds, because once we start our summon chain, we cannot stop in the middle of it. We're going to activate the effective map, revealing Rabina, sending Eaglin. Rabina effect, Eaglin to hand. We're going to grab a Stree. Stree is just the one I like to get first. We're into Eaglin effect. They're going to IP Masquerena here because we can just tribute their monsters at this point. But unfortunately, it's a little too late to go into Appaloosa because we can now tribute Rabina and Appaloosa to go into M-Pen. They're going to trigger the effect of Flamberge, which has been sent to the grave by the Masquerena. We're going to trigger our Rabina to come back to hand and our M-Pen to search. They're going to summon back Ponyx, summon back Ash. We're going to normal out Stree to banish Garunic so it doesn't come back. They're going to then chain the effect of Ash and Ponyx, grabbing Oak, and grabbing Skyburn. Skyburn's a problem for us, but we can clear the board here. We got rid of the Garunics, and they get rid of the Ponyx for us. We go into the Link Karibo with our little guy here, so they don't even bother using the effect, and then we get over Ash as well with M-Pen, and then we go for a little 700 with Stree. We set all 3 cards here, because all these cards can be used to get these little guys off the field so we don't take any damage, and then Dreaming Town, of course, starts our play with the Rabina in hand. They draw Bonfire. They're going to use the effect of Sinful Snake Eye to put Flamberge back and grab Snake Eye's Ash to hand. I mean, they've got everything here. They're going to use Wanted here to draw and put back Snake Eye. They're going to use Kieran, and they're going to summon Ash. Poplar effect off the search. Poplar effect to grab the Sinful Spoils. Bonfire here to search Ash again. I don't know why. It is once per turn, so we might as well use it now. They're going to use Fire King Island to pop the Poplar, and not the Ash they just added to hand, to grab Arvada. Then they're going to use the Poplar effect, put it back to field. Then they're going to use the effect of Ash to get Flamberge back. We're going to then Dreaming Town because I'm worried that they're going to try and use the Flamberge effect to put our M-Pen in the back row. And we're going to stop that from happening. We're going to Rabina, grab Toucan, grab M-Pen. They're going to Skyburn here to try and pop our M-Pen. We're going to Advent of Adventure because it's already gone, so we might as well. We're going to then get Eaglin to hand off of Advent of Adventure, grab another 500 life points. They're going to not fail to resolve Skyburn, and then we're going to use their Flamberge and our Stree to summon M-Pen. They're then going to be able to chain all those effects, but what they don't realize is that the game is already over. We search M-Pen, but you know, like they just don't have anything anymore. Like they can summon a couple of monsters, but they've used up all their gas in like messing up the combo going first on the first turn. And they don't have a normal summon anymore, so they can't even get Arvada on field to get a negation on board. And even if they did, M-Pen would floodgate it. The M-Pen floodgate is just too strong. All their Link monsters wouldn't be able to stand up to it. So that's the end of the game. So where does this leave us? Floowandereeze is certainly in a good place this format. Fire format is turning out to be heavily graveyard and Link monster focused, which Floowandereeze is primed to take advantage of. While Floowandereeze can often be a rogue consideration, right now it may well be a full-on anti-meta threat, and it's been putting up some tournament results that reinforce that. The specific way the deck floodgates and the deck's resource loop and grind game make it work well against Snake Eye Fire King and completely locks down a lot of rogue decks. You saw in that game there, if they had tried to summon a Link monster, its effects would not resolve. The problem is that Floowandereeze is still a fragile deck. It's less fragile, but still fragile. And now people are packing so much non-engine that you almost need to draw your one of Call by the Grave just to compete. You saw how Droll and Lockbird just completely ended our turns. Additionally, it's very heavily weighted towards going first. If you win the die roll to go first, you're feeling good. But going second, you're going to start struggling. Lastly, it has a problem that a lot of anti-meta decks have, where if a deck is playing on a different axis, a lot of your cards are just dead. If you happen into the mirror match, it's probably going to be a fun game, but it'll be a tight nail-biter of a match. It's also going to use up a lot of your brain power and leave you drained in your next match. Luckily, most people seem to hate Flu for some reason, so that's not likely to happen. Overall, Flu seems to be a nice pick for the format, especially for any budget duelist out there. This deck, especially without some of the only vaguely useful extra deck cards, is astonishingly cheap in one of the most expensive formats in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Seeing as the deck has been putting up results in some recent events, I'm not the only one excited for the flock to be back from winter migration. Hopefully this deck serves you well, or gives you some ideas for your own build. If it does, feel free to let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey there! Thanks for watching this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any other thoughts on the build or if you played this deck and how it did. Also make sure to follow me on Twitch and Twitter for more. And maybe throw a couple bucks my way on Patreon if you like. I hope you see you again, so be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and have a wonderful rest of whatever time it is for you. Bye!